Do you ever feel that flutter in your chest? A little skip of your heartbeat that you just brush off as, well, nothing? What about that feeling of being out of breath after bringing in the groceries or climbing a single flight of stairs? Do you tell yourself you're just a little out of shape, that it's just part of getting older? Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, your heart pounding for no reason you can name, or felt a strange, dull ache in your shoulder or jaw and dismissed it as sleeping wrong? These moments, these quiet, fleeting symptoms are easy to ignore. We're busy. We have responsibilities, families, careers. We've been taught to be tough, to push through discomfort. We tell ourselves it's just indigestion, or stress, or a bad night's sleep. But what if it's more than that? What if these aren't random, disconnected events? What if they are whispers, quiet warnings from the very center of your being, from your heart? For so many of us, especially as we move past 40, we start to think that feeling a little worn down is our new normal, but it doesn't have to be. The information we're about to share in this video isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to empower you, because understanding the why behind these feelings is the first, most crucial step toward taking back control of your health and your future. We're going to pull back the curtain on 5 of the most common, seemingly innocent daily habits that are silently putting your heart under attack. And by the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge to turn the tables. So, stay with me. Let's learn how to listen to those whispers before they become a scream. Number 5, lack of sleep. We begin our countdown with a thief that robs us in the dark, the chronic lack of quality sleep. In our 24/7 hustle culture, we often treat sleep as a luxury, not a biological necessity. We boast about burning the midnight oil, surviving on 4 or 5 hours. We see it as a badge of honor, a sign of productivity and dedication. But while our minds are pushing forward, our hearts are quietly paying a steep price. For those of us over 40, the relationship with sleep can already be complicated. Hormonal changes, increased life stress, and a tendency for our natural sleep cycles to shift can make getting a full, restorative night's rest more challenging. But when we actively sacrifice sleep or fail to address growing sleep problems, we are setting a dangerous stage for our cardiovascular system. So, what is actually happening to your heart when you're sleep deprived? It's not just about feeling tired, it's a cascade of harmful physiological events. First, let's talk about blood pressure. During normal, healthy sleep, your blood pressure naturally drops. This period, known as nocturnal dipping, gives your heart and blood vessels a much-needed rest. It's a nightly repair and recovery cycle. When you don't get enough sleep, your blood pressure remains elevated for longer periods. Imagine running an engine all day and never letting it fully cool down at night. Day after day, week after week, this sustained high pressure puts an incredible strain on your arteries. It causes them to lose their elasticity, become stiffer, and sustain damage, creating the perfect environment for hypertension, a primary driver of heart attacks and strokes. Second is the inflammatory response. Lack of sleep triggers the body's stress response system, flooding your bloodstream with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. It also signals the overproduction of inflammatory markers, specifically C-reactive protein or CRP. Chronic inflammation is like a slow-burning fire inside your blood vessels. This inflammation can damage the delicate inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium. This damage makes it easier for cholesterol and other substances to stick to the artery walls, forming the dangerous plaques of atherosclerosis. These plaques are the foundation of coronary artery disease. They narrow the highways that deliver oxygen-rich blood to your heart muscle. Furthermore, sleep deprivation disrupts your body's ability to regulate blood sugar. It can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where your cells don't respond properly to insulin, forcing your pancreas to work overtime. Over time, this can lead to type 2 diabetes, which itself more than doubles your risk of developing heart disease. The two are tragically intertwined, and then there's the direct impact on the heart's function. When you're tired, your body pushes the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, into overdrive to keep you alert. This means a consistently higher resting heart rate and a greater chance of irregular heart rhythms, or arrhythmias. That fluttering feeling, or palpitations, can sometimes be a direct result of your heart being overworked due to a lack of rest. It's a vicious cycle. You don't sleep, you feel stressed and tired. To cope, you might reach for sugary snacks or caffeine, which further disrupts sleep. You might skip your workout because you're too exhausted. Each of these decisions, driven by sleep debt, adds another layer of risk. For our 40-plus audience, the cumulative effect of years of poor sleep can be profound. It's not one bad night. It's the slow, steady erosion of your cardiovascular resilience. Recognizing sleep not as a passive activity, but as an active process of healing and restoration is the first step. It is non-negotiable for a healthy heart. Number 4, poor nutrition. Next on our list is the fuel we choose for our bodies. Think of your heart as the most sophisticated, high-performance engine in the world. It runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without a single break. Now, ask yourself, what kind of fuel have you been giving it? For many of us, our daily diet has become a minefield of heart-harming ingredients, often disguised in convenient packages and comforting flavors. We're talking about the relentless assault of excess sugar, trans fats, high levels of sodium, and a constant reliance on ultra-processed foods. Let's break down how this quartet of culprits wages war on your heart. First, sugar, the sweet poison. When you consume sugary drinks, refined carbohydrates like white bread and pastries, and hidden sugars in sauces and so-called healthy snacks, your body experiences a rapid spike in blood glucose. This forces a massive release of insulin to manage the sugar load. Over time, this constant demand can lead to insulin resistance and, as we mentioned, type 2 diabetes. But the damage doesn't stop there. Excess sugar in the bloodstream can directly increase levels of triglycerides, a type of fat that circulates in your blood. High triglycerides, combined with high levels of LDL, the bad cholesterol, and low levels of HDL, the good cholesterol, is a textbook recipe for atherosclerosis. Sugar also promotes inflammation throughout the body, irritating the walls of your arteries and making them sticky for plaque. It contributes to weight gain, particularly dangerous visceral fat around your organs, which further strains the heart. Next, we have the notorious trans fats. These are artificial fats created in an industrial process to make foods last longer. You'll find them in many fried foods, baked goods, margarines, and packaged snacks. To be blunt, there is no safe level of consumption for artificial trans fats. They are a cardiovascular nightmare. They simultaneously raise your bad LDL cholesterol while actively lowering your good HDL cholesterol. It's a double whammy that dramatically accelerates the clogging of your arteries. They also promote inflammation and damage the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels, reducing their ability to function properly. While many manufacturers have reduced their use, they still lurk in many processed items, so reading labels for partially hydrogenated oils is critical. Then there's salt, or more specifically, sodium. Our bodies need a small amount of sodium to function, but the modern diet is absolutely swimming in it, especially in processed and restaurant foods. When you have excess sodium in your system, your body holds onto extra water to dilute it. This increases the total volume of blood inside your blood vessels. The increased volume means increased pressure against your artery walls. It's simple physics. This is what we call high blood pressure or hypertension. Over years, this constant pressure damages and narrows your arteries, forcing your heart to work much harder to pump blood throughout your body. Eventually, the heart muscle can thicken and weaken, leading to heart failure. Finally, let's tie this all together with the concept of ultra-processed foods. These aren't just foods with added salt or sugar. They are industrial formulations of ingredients that you wouldn't find in a home kitchen. Think frozen pizzas, instant noodles, many breakfast cereals, and mass-produced snacks. These products are specifically engineered to be hyper-palatable, overriding your natural feelings of fullness and encouraging overconsumption. They deliver a potent combination of all the harmful elements we've discussed: high sugar, unhealthy fats, and massive amounts of sodium, while being stripped of the beneficial things your heart needs, like fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Studies have shown a direct dose-dependent relationship. The more ultra-processed food you eat, the higher your risk of heart disease and early death. For those of us over 40, our metabolism is slowing down. We can't get away with the dietary indiscretions of our 20s. The damage from a poor diet is cumulative. Every meal is a choice. It's an opportunity to either build up your heart's defenses with whole, nourishing foods or to contribute to the slow, silent process of its destruction. Number 3, a sedentary lifestyle. We now arrive at a mistake that has become an epidemic in the modern world, an invisible risk that grows every hour we spend sitting. We're talking about a sedentary lifestyle. Our bodies were designed for movement. For millennia, human survival depended on being active, hunting, gathering, farming. Yet, we've engineered movement almost completely out of our daily lives. We sit at desks for 8 hours a day. We sit in cars during our commute. We come home and sit on the couch to relax. We have become the sitting generation, and our hearts are breaking because of it. Being sedentary is not simply the absence of exercise. It is a standalone risk factor. You can go to the gym for 30 minutes every day, but if you spend the other 23.5 hours being largely inactive, you are still facing significant cardiovascular risks. Let's explore exactly how prolonged sitting methodically dismantles your heart's health. The most immediate effect is on your circulation. When you are active, your leg muscles act as a second heart, contracting and squeezing blood back up towards your chest. When you sit for long periods, this system becomes dormant. Blood flow slows down, and blood can pool in your legs. This sluggish circulation makes it easier for fatty acids to build up and deposit in your blood vessels, contributing directly to atherosclerosis. A sedentary lifestyle also wreaks havoc on the fundamental regulators of your heart health, blood pressure and cholesterol. Physical activity helps keep arteries flexible and open. Inactivity does the opposite. It leads to stiffer arteries and, as a result, higher blood pressure. Your heart has to pump with more force to push blood through this rigid plumbing system, leading to wear and tear. At the same time, sitting has a detrimental effect on your cholesterol profile. Enzymes that help break down fats and triglycerides in your bloodstream, like lipoprotein lipase, plummet in activity when you're seated. This leads to rising levels of bad LDL cholesterol and triglycerides, while your protective HDL cholesterol levels fall. You are essentially creating a perfect storm for plaque buildup. Furthermore, being inactive is a direct path to weight gain and obesity, especially that dangerous visceral fat that settles around your abdominal organs. This type of fat isn't just dormant tissue, it's metabolically active, releasing inflammatory chemicals that contribute to systemic inflammation and insulin resistance, two major enemies of your heart we've already discussed. Your body becomes less sensitive to insulin, increasing your risk for type 2 diabetes, a condition that dramatically accelerates heart disease. Beyond the direct biological impacts, consider the ripple effect. When we're sedentary, we tend to feel more tired and lethargic, which makes us less likely to engage in healthy activities. It can contribute to feelings of depression and anxiety, which, as we'll see, are also major risk factors for heart problems. It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle of inactivity and declining health. For the 40-plus demographic, this is particularly critical. We are naturally losing muscle mass as we age, a process called sarcopenia. A sedentary lifestyle dramatically accelerates this muscle loss. Less muscle means a slower metabolism, making weight gain easier and blood sugar control harder. The phrase "move it or lose it" is not just a catchy slogan. It is a biological imperative for your heart. Every hour spent sitting is an hour. Your body's vital systems are in a low-power, inefficient state. Breaking up this sedentary time is just as important as dedicated exercise. It's about reintroducing a culture of movement back into your day, one step at a time. Number 2, smoking. There can be no discussion about heart health without confronting one of the most powerful and destructive habits known to humankind: smoking. There is no ambiguity here, no gray area. Every single puff of a cigarette is an act of aggression against your cardiovascular system. While public awareness of smoking's link to lung cancer is high, its devastating, multi-pronged attack on the heart is sometimes less understood. If you are a smoker, this is the most urgent issue to address for your long-term survival. The damage begins the moment the cocktail of over 7,000 chemicals in cigarette smoke enters your lungs and is absorbed into your bloodstream. It's an immediate, system-wide assault. First, the chemicals in tobacco smoke, particularly nicotine and carbon monoxide, directly damage the inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium. Think of the endothelium as a smooth, non-stick coating. Smoking scratches and inflames this delicate surface, making it rough and sticky. This is ground zero for atherosclerosis. The damaged areas become magnets for cholesterol, fats, and other debris, which begin to build up and form plaque. Over time, these plaques grow, hardening and narrowing your arteries, restricting the flow of life-giving blood to your heart. This is coronary artery disease. Nicotine itself is a potent cardiovascular drug. It acts as a powerful stimulant, triggering your adrenal glands to release a surge of adrenaline. This causes your heart rate to shoot up and your blood pressure to spike. For a smoker, this isn't a once-in-a-while event. It's a repeated shock to the system with every cigarette. This constant state of high alert forces your heart to work harder and faster, putting it under relentless strain and accelerating wear and tear. Simultaneously, carbon monoxide from the smoke enters your red blood cells, taking the place of oxygen. This means every beat of your heart is delivering less oxygen to your body's tissues, including the heart muscle itself. To compensate for this oxygen deficit, your heart is forced to pump even harder, further increasing the strain. It's like asking your engine to run on a low-quality, contaminated fuel source while demanding it perform at maximum capacity. But the assault doesn't end there. Smoking also messes with your blood chemistry, making it thicker and stickier. It increases the tendency of platelets to clump together, which is the mechanism for forming blood clots. Now, imagine a blood clot forming in one of those arteries that has already been narrowed by years of plaque buildup. If that clot becomes large enough to completely block the artery, it cuts off all blood flow to the section of the heart muscle it supplies. The muscle, starved of oxygen, begins to die. That is a heart attack. If that same process happens in an artery leading to the brain, it's a stroke. Smokers are 2 to 4 times more likely to have a stroke than non-smokers. For those over 40, the decades of smoking have allowed for significant plaque development. You are living with arteries that are already compromised. Each cigarette dramatically increases the short-term risk of a catastrophic event. And it's important to understand that there is no safe amount of smoking. Even light or social smoking causes measurable damage. The exposure to secondhand smoke is also proven to increase the risk of heart disease in non-smokers. Quitting is the single most powerful and positive action you can take for your heart. The body's capacity to heal is remarkable. Within just 20 minutes of your last cigarette, your heart rate and blood pressure begin to drop. Within a year, your excess risk of coronary heart disease is cut in half. It is the closest thing we have to a magic bullet in heart disease prevention. Number 1, chronic stress and anxiety. We have now arrived at the number 1 daily mistake that is destroying our hearts. It's the most insidious of them all because you can't always see it or touch it. It's the constant grinding pressure of modern life, chronic stress and anxiety. We often think of stress as a purely mental or emotional problem, a feeling of being overwhelmed, worried, or on edge. But your body doesn't distinguish between a physical threat, like being chased by a predator, and a psychological one, like a looming work deadline, a financial worry, or a difficult family situation. To your body, stress is stress, and it responds with a primal, hardwired survival mechanism known as the fight or flight response. When this response is triggered, your adrenal glands release a torrent of powerful hormones, most notably cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are lifesavers in a short-term emergency. Adrenaline jacks up your heart rate and blood pressure to prepare you for action. Cortisol increases the sugar or glucose in your bloodstream to provide an immediate energy source for your large muscles and brain. It also curbs functions that would be non-essential in a fight or flight situation, like your immune system and digestive system. This is a brilliant system for short-term survival. The problem is, in our modern world, the predators are not one-time events. They are emails, traffic jams, financial pressures, 24-hour news cycles, and social anxieties. The threats never fully go away. As a result, many of us live in a state where this stress response system is constantly activated on a low level. Our bodies are perpetually marinating in a bath of stress hormones, and this is where the profound damage to the heart occurs. The constant elevation of cortisol and adrenaline has devastating consequences. Chronically high blood pressure and heart rate put an immense, unrelenting strain on your heart and arteries, leading to damage and increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. The elevated blood sugar from cortisol contributes to weight gain, insulin resistance, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Cortisol also directly promotes the accumulation of visceral fat, the deep abdominal fat that wraps around your organs. As we've learned, this type of fat is a hotbed of inflammation, releasing chemicals that further damage your blood vessels. Chronic stress is, therefore, a primary driver of chronic inflammation, the silent fire that fuels atherosclerosis. It creates the perfect conditions for cholesterol to build up and form dangerous plaques in your coronary arteries. Moreover, stress can directly trigger acute cardiac events. In a moment of intense anger or stress, the surge of adrenaline can cause a narrowed artery to spasm and close off, or it can cause a piece of plaque to rupture, leading to the formation of a blood clot that causes a heart attack. This is why you hear of people having heart attacks during or immediately after incredibly stressful events. Stress can also trigger dangerous heart rhythms or arrhythmias. The indirect effects of stress are just as harmful. When you're stressed, how do you cope? Many people turn to the very habits we've already discussed. You don't sleep well. You crave and eat high-fat, high-sugar comfort foods. You don't have the time or energy to exercise. You might smoke more or drink more alcohol. Stress becomes the central engine that drives all the other heart-damaging behaviors, creating a powerful and deadly feedback loop. For those of us in the 40-plus age group, we often carry the heaviest burdens of stress. We are juggling careers, aging parents, and our own families. The cumulative wear and tear of decades of stress takes a significant toll. Acknowledging the profound physical impact of your mental state is not weakness, it is a critical insight into your health. Managing stress isn't a luxury, it is as vital to your heart's survival as a healthy diet or regular exercise. So, there you have it, the 5 daily mistakes that silently chip away at the health of our hearts. From the sleep we sacrifice and the food we consume, to the hours we spend sitting, the cigarettes we smoke, and the chronic stress we endure. It might seem like a daunting list. You might recognize yourself in several of these points and feel a sense of concern, and that's okay. That recognition is the first, most powerful step toward change. This isn't about blame or regret. It's about awareness and opportunity. The opportunity to make a different choice at your next meal. The opportunity to stand up and stretch every hour. The opportunity to prioritize an extra hour of sleep tonight. The opportunity to seek help in quitting smoking or managing your stress. Your heart has been working for you tirelessly, every second of every day, for your entire life. Now it's your turn to start working for it. We're a new channel, and we're passionate about bringing you information that can genuinely make a difference in your life. If you found value in this video, the single best way you can support our work and help us grow is by subscribing to the channel. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to us. It allows us to continue creating content to empower you on your health journey. Please, don't be discouraged. Don't feel overwhelmed. The path to a healthier heart is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's a journey you take one day, one choice, one step at a time. You have the power to change your story. Don't give up. Find your path. Your heart is worth it. You are worth it.